The Mythic rarity contains the most brawlers in the game with a staggering 33 brawlers in total. But in today's video, I'm going to be ranking every Mythic brawler in the game based off the current meta and a little bit of my opinion. Starting with Mortis. Mortis really isn't doing too well in the current meta. A lot of newer assassins are a lot better at doing what he does, and those brawlers happen to be at the top of the meta. It's safe to say that he got carried by his hypercharge for a pretty long time and now he's getting power crept. So I'll just leave him in the C tier. Tara is a very reliable damage dealer. She can easily deal a ton of damage while controlling a considerable amount of area, especially with her hypercharge. She isn't really doing anything too crazy and she'll fit right into the B tier. Jhin is one of the best controllers in the game. He's also been consistently making the high tiers of the meta for a long time. His only downside seems to be his hypercharge, but that really doesn't affect him too much. I'll keep him in the S tier since he's very consistent. Max has really fallen off because newer support brawlers are just better. Nowadays she's only really using specific team comps and brawlers like Jaeyoung can fit that role pretty well. So I'll just keep her in the B tier. Mr. P has been a bit less chaotic ever since his hypercharge got nerfed. Although he's still very good, and I'll say his hypercharge might still be one of the best in the game, so I think he can stay in the A tier. A lot of throwers like Sprouts are really struggling because of the very aggressive meta that we are in. His hypercharge also happens to be one of the worst in the game and he's practically useless right now. Byron is one of the most forgotten support brawlers in the game. While his main kit is really good at supporting teammates and dealing a good amount of damage at long range, the lack of a hypercharge makes him very hard to compete with other brawlers in the meta. He's not so bad, so I'll keep him in the B tier. Squeak is one of the better controllers in the game. He can be pretty frustrating to play against and he does a ton of damage while controlling a lot of area. But he has a pretty big flaw that doesn't really work well in this meta. His slow unload speed makes him really easy to counter, especially if you're using a brawler with a considerable amount of health. It's also his only major flaw, so I'll keep him in the A tier. Lou is another really good controller that also thrives in this meta. He's normally really good at controlling a large amount of area with his super, but his ability to stun enemies with his main attack makes him very useful against aggressive brawlers, so he'll stay in the S tier. Ruffs is definitely one of the worst support brawlers in the game. Compared to every support brawler, Ruffs doesn't really offer much in terms of good support, especially if you have bad teammates that don't really understand his mechanics, since that's also a problem for some reason. Yeah, I'm keeping him in the F tier. Buzz really isn't the best assassin right now, which is pretty hard to believe because he possesses the best traits from the best brawlers in the game with his high health and aggressive nature, but he's just been power crept by a lot of newer brawlers and hypercharges which make him pretty bad. Fang is one of, if not the worst assassin in the game. He gets countered easily by a lot of brawlers and his playstyle is just pretty whack. The only reason why he won't go to the F tier is because his hypercharge can actually be useful in certain scenarios. So yeah, D tier. Eve has really fallen off and it's mainly because she can't deal enough damage to deal with some of the best brawlers in the meta. Her hypercharge is still pretty strong, but that can only really take her so far. Janet is one of the most underrated marksmen in the game. Her ability to deal good damage and escape or pressure enemies with her super is really strong. Her main downside is her relatively low range compared to other marksmen, and she more than makes up for that with her incredibly strong hypercharge, so I'll be keeping her in the A tier. Otis is struggling a bit in the current meta. Similar to Eve, he doesn't deal enough damage to deal with the top brawlers in this meta, but his ability to silence enemies with his super still comes in pretty handy, and the stun with his hypercharge is really strong, so I'll keep him in the C tier. Buster is still one of the best tanks in the meta. He's always been consistent and pretty underrated, but he's just really strong. He has one of the best supers in the game for supporting his team, and he can be played both passively and aggressively with his hypercharge, so I'll obviously give him a spot in the S tier. Gray is still one of the best long-ranged brawlers in the game. I won't say too much about Gray since I genuinely don't understand how people play him well. RT got a really good hypercharge and it's pretty good, but he's not invincible. He's still very strong with it and it deals a crap ton of damage, so I'll keep him in the A tier. Willow is okay. I don't really want to put her that high on the list, but a lot of people try to convince me that she's one of the best throwers / controllers in the game, although she really gets carried by her main kit since her hypercharge doesn't really bring much to the table, so I'll keep her in the B tier. Doug is still doing pretty well. It's rare to see Supercell completely rework and buff a brawler without going too overboard. I can safely say that after years of neglect, Doug is now a respectable balanced brawler in the A tier, but I don't think I can really say the same about Chuck. His hypercharge is completely useless and and he's only ever useful in highest hot zone and maybe gem grab. In my last video, I go more in depth as to why Chuck's hypercharge is really bad, but I don't think I need to explain why Chuck is one of the worst mythic brawlers in the game. Charlie has really changed in the past few months. Not only is she one of the best controllers and mythic brawlers, she's also one of the best brawlers in the game. That kind of change is pretty nice since she isn't completely useless anymore, so she stays in the S tier. Miko actually hurts to play these days. I've never seen a brawler become so irredeemably bad in the span of 2 years. Miko is easily one of the worst assassins in the game, and I can only really see him being used in heist. That said, his hypercharge definitely needs a rework cause right now it's really bad, so he's going to the F tier. Melody is pretty mid right now. She isn't bad, but she's not very good. Let's just say her hypercharge is doing a lot of the heavy lifting in her case, so I'll keep her in the B tier. Lily's hypercharge is generally one of the most broken hypercharges in the game right now, and it's made Lily one of the best assassins in the game, and now she's practically unkillable if she gets you with it, which is just really fun. Besides Miko, Clancy had and still has the biggest fall amongst the mythic brawlers. Not even a year ago, Clancy was genuinely unstoppable because of the insane amounts of damage he was able to deal consistently. Nowadays, he's barely scraping by at the bottom of the meta with a hypercharge that he can only use once a match if he's lucky, so I'm keeping him in the F tier. I thought Mo's hypercharge would be an absolute game changer for Mo in the meta, but I guess that wasn't really the issue. The hypercharge is really good, but not much has changed ever since he got it, and that's because his main issue is his very inconsistent main attack. Sometimes you deal 4000 damage and sometimes you can only deal 1k, but it's this damage inconsistency that will keep him in the C tier for a while. Juju is starting to take a hit with the current meta not being in her favor and the fact that she doesn't have a hypercharge yet. And to be fair, Juju lasted at the top for way too long. It was pretty annoying getting killed by a brawler who had 3 different main attacks and a super that has more health than most brawlers and hits like a truck, but I'm glad those days are kinda over. Lumi is still broken and I don't know what else to say. Maybe it wasn't really the brightest idea to give this brawler a hypercharge so early. Easy S tier. Finks is pretty solid, he's a good controller and that's about it. Nothing too crazy with his placement in the meta, and thank god he doesn't have a hypercharge yet. Yeah, he's staying in the B tier. Jae Young feels like he's on a killing spree. He single-handedly made almost every support brawler in the game practically useless because of his insane flexibility and overall reliability in the meta. All of this without even having a hypercharge yet, which is just insane. Ali fell off so hard and I don't think anyone should be complaining. She was honestly ridiculous and the game felt unplayable throughout all of last month. But after the nerf, she's laughably bad even as an assassin. B tier. Anyways, this is my list of every mythic brawler ranked. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and as always, thanks for watching.